After a full year of aging, are we still wild about the wild pomegranate mead?
This was made with the dreaded Rangpur limes, not to be confused with the other limes that we thought they were. They're actually Rangpur limes, which supposedly are very good in Thai cooking. I have yet to try that. However, this was the mead that they actually worked fairly well in. Now, something of note, this is a wild fermentation, which means we did not actually add yeast to this. It was all from the leaves themselves, which was probably the yeast source, a little bit of the honey, and it had the pomegranate juice in it. This came out at 8.1%. So it's a little bit on the low side, which makes storing it for a whole year slightly risky. It might have a vinegary, but it doesn't. It could have tasted a little bit vinegary, okay, because that's below the acetobacter level. But this is proof that, plastic caps, regular bottling, all works. Just have to make sure it's done fermenting. Right away, nice color. This looks really good. I'm pretty impressed with this. I drank all the rest of this brew though before, so I liked it before. It's very interesting and unique, as I recall. So let's see, has it changed?
The color is nice. Looking down at it in the glass, it seems rather subdued, but when you bring it up to the light, it does have that red. Really deep, dark red, like cherry red.
Oh, yeah.
It's very pretty, and it's very clear, crystal clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the color is absolutely gorgeous. It's just got that cherry red. It looks like cherry juice. It really does. That you can see through because it's not completely opaque. You can actually see through this.
The aroma, I'm getting a lot of the lime,
yeah,
but it's not offensive to me. At first, I was a little taken aback because I didn't remember it being so strong lime.
I don't remember it on the smell being that strong.
But it is definitely lime. But once you get past the initial lime, then you can smell the pomegranate. And a little
bit of honey too.
I like to eat a lot of pomegranate when they're in season. Brian thinks they're too fiddly, so he doesn't normally bother with them.
They're a pain in the butt.
But I really like them, so I am very familiar with their aroma. And,
too crunchy.
And this reminds me of pomegranate, which is good since it's pomegranate.
So now we're going to do our quick sip or short sip where you just put some in your mouth, swallow it down, get a feel for it, and it acclimates your palate, you might say. Ooh. I like this already. The blend of the Rangpur lime with the pomegranate is really interesting. It works way better than you ever thought it would. It seems like such a strange combination, but it really does work nicely.
Super well.
This is a little bit on the sweet side too, so that all helps it to blend together.
Because I'm a human, and this is what humans do, I'm trying to grasp at bits of memory of what I have from when this was first tasted, and I don't remember...
It was a little harsher.
...tasting the honey.
Yeah.
But this, I'm getting lime, then pomegranate, then honey. And I was just like, that was just my short sip. How did I get all three of them? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And they were very crisp and clear and individual. It wasn't like a blending of these things. It's like,
but it blends together too.
But the sensation melds into each other, but you get the distinct lime, pomegranate, honey. At least I was. And that was exciting.
The easiest way for me to describe this flavor and what it feels like in your mouth is there's a certain Jolly Rancher flavor that this is reminiscent of. Not exactly the same, but it has that like tangy, sweet thing going on. Really, really wonderful. Are you doing your long sip? Oh, well now I'll do the long sip where you put it in your mouth and you hold it for a while and you get to experience it. And she's jumping ahead.
I can understand what Brian is saying about the Jolly Rancher thing.
It's not that sweet though.
It's kind of like a combination between the sour apple and the watermelon.
Yes.
Jolly Ranchers.
Yes.
See, I understand.
Yeah. On the long sip though, same idea. I get the lime, like actual lime flavor, which actually comes out quite nicely. I'm not a huge fan of lime, but in this, it actually seems to work really, really well. Now, Rangpur is not really a lime per se. It's clementine and some other citrusy fruit.
It's a mandarin citron combination.
That, yeah. And when you mix those things together, you get kind of a sweetish flavor rather than such a limey flavor. Works really nice in this. The pomegranate and this blend so nicely together. Now, as far as balance goes, this has a unique flavor. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily acidic, but it does give the feeling of being acidic. It's mouth-filling without being overly tannic. And it has enough sweetness to cut through those things and make it very pleasant to drink. So, yeah. I mean, I loved this.
There it is.
When we had the other.
Mine's
yeah,
all
I'll pour you
gone.
more. Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very enjoyable. Now, rather than just sitting here and enjoying myself, just experiencing this beverage, I have to start thinking again.
Yep.
Thinking? What? So, the next step we normally go through after the tastings, and the reason why I'm not going on and on other than making little giddy faces, is because I agreed with everything Brian said, and
We actually completely agree on this
It's
one.
very much the lime is coming through, the pomegranate is coming through, and the honey is coming through. And in theory, I would say I probably shouldn't like this. But as a reality, I really like this.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really, really like this.
But let's get to some stuff, though. Is this a drink it with food kind of thing?
I don't know, and that's where I'm conflicted, and that's where I was going with
I don't
the
think it
thinking
is.
thing.
I think it's too complex and too out there.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
not a mainstream drinker. This is kind of out there.
This isn't a
unusual.
subtle
Oh no, this
enhancing
is
thing. This is like a pow.
Yeah, I mean this is punching you in the face.
And-
You know.
And but it's so good that you don't mind.
Yeah, it's one of those punches in the face that you say, "Thank you, may I have another?" You know. I've never had one of those before, but you know, this is kind of like that. As far as cooking with it, I probably wouldn't cook with it either. I just can't imagine things that this would go in that it would work with. And that's the cool thing. There's wines and meads and stuff that we've made that are great for drinking on their own, and they're great for cooking and great for drinking with food. And then there's others that are great for cooking, but not so much for drinking.
Yeah.
This one is really great for drinking on its own. It's an experience. This is an experience, as she likes to say.
The only thing I could remotely think of in using this along with food is somehow flavoring an icing or a glaze with it and using it on a very neutral cake so that the powerful flavor of this could
If
just
you
be
say
on its
so.
own, and that the cake is more just a vehicle for you to eat this flavor.
Okay. I guess I could
But
sort
it
of
would
see
have to
that.
be an incredibly neutral, like, no flavor
Yeah.
cake.
The only way I can possibly see this is with certain fruits, maybe. That's about it. I can't really see this with much else for food. But
Yeah.
that's just me. Everybody has their opinion.
Yep. But drinking it alone, yes, please.
Oh, yeah. Pour this in a mug.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Yeah, this is just really, really amazing stuff. Can it be reproduced? Of course it can. Can you do it with yeast? Of course you can. It's the same idea. You do want to get Rangpur lime leaves, or I would imagine a little bit of lime juice would probably work just as well.
I think just straight up lime juice would be fine.
Lime juice or lime zest even would probably
Yep.
work and get you really, really close to the same thing. It might not be exactly the same, but it
Right.
would probably work
Right.
pretty well.
I think using actual yeast rather than relying on the chaos that is wild yeasts might be a better bet
More
because
predictable.
then you could get it past that 10% mark
True.
and not have to worry so much about the potential of vinegar.
Reliably, you can know. Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's time for a score.
as far as the alcohol thing goes, I feel like
It's got something there.
it's got enough alcohol in it to make you go, oh yeah, this is a fermented beverage.
Yeah, you definitely know there's alcohol in it. It doesn't taste like juice, you know. But it's time to come up with a score. This is an unusual one. Our scoring system, though, the way we do it is, 1 is something that is possibly toxic and you probably wouldn't give it to your worst enemy. That's an exaggeration, of course, but You know what I mean. 10 is, this is the shining example of a beverage. Not of that particular beverage, but of just a beverage in general. Something that cannot be improved on. It is the absolute perfect specimen. 5 is kind of weighted, okay? 5 means, yeah, I'd drink that. I'd reach for that. Might not be the first thing I choose if there's other things, but I would drink it. So below 5 means I probably wouldn't drink it. So, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3,
9.5.
I was the low guy this time. This is a weird one for me to judge because this is so not mainstream mead for me that I couldn't give it higher than a 9. I just couldn't do it. I thought about 9.5. I thought about 10. I thought about 7. And I'm like, I like this one. I enjoy this one. This one's an experience. This one's really good. But what would make it better if it wasn't quite so in-your-face powerful? That's the only thing I could come up with. That if it was just backed off a little bit, it might be more enjoyable, okay? Now, someone would say you could dilute it, you could use it as a mixer. Of course you can. I'm judging it for what it is right now. So to me, that's why I gave it a 9 instead of a 10. Now, don't get me wrong. 9 is like an amazing score. That's just an awesome score for a mead.
Now, I even a 9.5, and I would have even gone to a 9.75 because I really like this beverage.
We don't do quarter points.
In fact, I'm trying to now recall where did I stash all the other ones, and are there any more left? I don't think so, and now I'm sad.
I drank them.
Yeah.
I know I did.
So yeah, we might have to attempt to make this again.
Yeah, we could do an intentional one without it being wild.
Really good.
And use limes or lime zest. I think we could do that. That sounds like something we might
Well,
want to do.
we have plenty of rampers on the trees right now. They're just not ripe yet. So maybe when they come into their full ripeness, pa-chow, make another one of these.
Okay.
Pa-chow. Because I think it's going to correspond with when pomegranates are back in season. So.
Oh, well, there you go. So we'll do it with fresh pomegranates, too, because we used pomegranate juice when we made this. So use fresh pomegranates, lime zest. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like something we could do.
But there's more.
Okay, so we got a set of the steel ice things too. I don't know what you call them, whiskey stones, but they're not stones. We got the stainless steel ones because someone said that they use them all the time and they worked better than the stone ones. So I said, let me get some. We're going to do a test to find out which is actually better. These last 4 are going to get used in that test. So I'm going to put them back in the freezer. Okay, so now we put it on ice, so to speak. And it's been sitting for a few seconds. The reason we don't use actual ice is because it dilutes it. And even in the short time that we're going to be doing this, it actually caused a noticeable amount of dilution in a mead. Now, in whiskeys, it's not as big of a deal because you have 40% or higher alcohol. When you're down to like 8%, it would be extremely noticeable in a mead like this. So I'm going to let the lady try it first.
And yes, I smell everything.
There's nothing wrong with that. It probably smells a little bit less. Oh, wow. Some things benefit from being cold. Some things do not.
Now, how I'm going to verbalize my experience with it cold or chilled is that the lime is still forward.
Yeah.
But then the pomegranate honey just kind of blends together at the end. It's not so distinctive pomegranate than honey.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
So I don't know if those both got turned down or they just kind of blended.
For me, overall, it's a little bit more mellowed together. I actually think I enjoy it better chilled. A little bit. It's very close. This one is not really all that different. I think because this is so aggressive and so strong to begin with, that even turned down a little bit, it's still quite good.
Chilled, it's reminding me more of cranberry juice.
Oh, okay.
So if you like cranberry and vodka, that's kind of what it reminds me. Just very slight bit of vodka.
With no vodka, yeah. I have to say I like it though. Sometimes it really makes it go, it's kind of muted and dull and boring. Not with this one. It actually holds up even cold.
Yeah,
it held up really nicely.
It's still good. It's definitely more chill. It's not as punchy as the. What can I say?
Yeah, it's not as punchy. I get it. It loses some of its aggression, its strength of flavor.
And I can see, based on Brian's comments, that he would like it better chilled. I'm going to say I might actually like it just a little tiny bit more straight, not chilled.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I'm still enjoying it chilled as well. So if I was really hot and uncomfortable, I would probably choose it chilled just so I'd have something cool. But if I just wanted some wild pomegranate mead, I would just grab a bottle and be a happy girl.
So now we need to give this another score. Cold.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 9.
8.5.
So she dropped the whole point. I gave it the same score. The reason I gave it the same score is for much the reason that she said. If it was a hot day, I'd have it cold. If it wasn't, I'd have it normal. Mostly because it tastes so good either way to me that I'm fine with it. I said it improved it, but it improved it in some aspects and turned down others. So it muted some of the flavors that I liked, and it mellowed others that were kind of a little, if they were off-putting, they weren't really off-putting. They were just punchy. A little too strong, too punchy. Right. So it kind of went up and then took it back down again. So it's still a 9. I mean, that's awesome. To be a 9 both times for me is amazing.
Sure.
Hers averages out to 9 too, by the way.
Right. And if I had this just like this and somebody said, here, drink this, I'd be like, oh, cool, that's really nice. Thank you. But because I had it not chilled first, I'm like, oh, well. So if you've watched more of our tastings and you've seen how I tend to score things, an 8.5 is still a significantly high score for me.
She tends to be lower scored than I do. So, but anyway, this was really, really good. We're going to remake this slightly different, something that's probably more repeatable for the folks at home that are playing along.
Speaking of folks playing along at home, if you see the name of people over on that side, those people we would like to say a huge and ginormous thank you to, because they are our VIPs and they help support the channel. If you would like to support the channel and get your name up in lights as well, check out the links below and sign up for our VIP.
And if you like this video, look up. There's another one up there. You might like that one too.
Thanks for watching.